Welcome back to Bees In with Britt. This week, we're talking about seducing the signs. I'm going to give you guys love advice to have your most sizzling hot girl summer yet. Okay, so before we get into that, let's do our tarot reading for the week. Check the vibe. We need to see what's going on and what we can expect. I did a little meditating and I shuffled the cards, and we have the 10 of Wands reversed and the 10 of Pentacles. Loving this. So 10 is all about completion. It is the end of a cycle. And the fact that the 10 of Wands, which is like burden, a lot of like hard work, and honestly like back-breaking work, like just being overwhelmed and stressed out, the fact that that came in reverse means that that's over, thank God. And then the 10 of Pentacles means that it's time for the reward, and that's why it's over. So we have a really great week ahead. I know that this resonates with me personally because in the morning, I'm leaving to go on my honeymoon, finally, with my husband. I'm so excited. We're going to go to the Dominican Republic, and I just honestly cannot wait. So before I did this, I was watching Heather Dubrow's YouTube channel. If you guys have been sleeping on that like I was, check it out. It's so good. I mean, she talks about like packing tips because I had to Virgo out a little bit and get some packing tips and advice. So anyway, she has like a ton of good videos about like packing and organizing your home and you know what I mean? Just like the kind of inspo that we need, which reminds me, oh my gosh, you guys, I have had the most ridiculous time leading up to everything. We almost didn't go tomorrow on our honeymoon because I just procrastinated. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I procrastinated so badly. And then that coupled with like the fact that everything's just running so slow right now. And my passport, even though we expedited it, it came in like tonight, like this evening around like, I don't know, like last possible minute. I mean, like 7:00. We went to the post office. Michael and I were just like running around. We had to call them. I mean, I created so much chaos. I was sick about it. So that leads me to my point. You guys are going to be seeing a lot of self-improvement content because I realized I've been getting a little bit out of balance, and that's what this channel is all about anyway. So yeah, just brace yourselves for some of that. So anyway, but I'm excited. Everything turned out great. I can't wait. I'm going to be taking a ton of pictures. I'm going to post a vlog on the YouTube channel. And if you guys are not subscribed to the YouTube channel yet and you're listening to this in podcast form, go to the YouTube channel. It's BZN TV and subscribe, you guys, because there's so many good things up there that you're not going to get anywhere else, including your monthly horoscopes. That's another thing. If you guys still haven't checked out your monthly horoscope, go to the YouTube channel and check that out because there's a lot of good stuff happening this month that I don't want you guys to miss. Okay, shall we dive in? I think we should. It's time to talk about our hottest hot girl summer ever. All right, so I'm going to take you guys through all of the signs, and what I'm going to do is break down the style, like the relationship, romantic style of each of the signs. And before I break down like their different quirks and personality traits and how to seduce them, I want to talk to you about compatibility because there are so many different schools of thought when it comes to astrological compatibility. So when you first meet somebody, and I mean, like if you're out and about, if you're dating and you meet somebody, you're only going to know their sun sign, right? I mean, you don't want to be a creep and be like, and what time were you born? You know, I mean, that's like so stereotypical. We can't do that right away. You got to like at least wait till the second date. But when you first meet somebody, you can at least make it like a point of conversation to casually say like, oh, so what's your zodiac sign, you know? And what you want to do is with that information, that can give you like a pretty good overall like little summary of a lot of their personality traits, like the do's and don'ts, their quirks, you know, good and bad points, stuff like that. And so that can give you like some info. But once you get to know somebody better, that's when you can also get a little more in depth and do like things like synastry charts. Knowing someone's Venus sign is really important. That'll tell you more about like their relationship style when you get really close to them. And that kind of comes out in like long-term relationships. But what we're focusing on today is just their sun sign, because we're assuming that you're meeting these people at pool parties or on dating apps or out and about, right? Okay, and then another thing, once you do get to know people better, if you ever compare your, your placements with their planets. My advice, because there are just so many ways to do it, my advice would be compare your sun sign and their sun sign. That's one point of compatibility. Compare your rising sign and their rising sign, because that's another point of compatibility. And then compare your moon sign with their moon sign, because you want to match up like the different planets. If you compare your rising sign, to their moon sign, it's like, it just gets kind of confusing. So that's my advice. We're going to talk about sun signs right now, and let's do this. Okay, so if you have a crush on an Aries person, here's what I think you need to do. Aries are known for being really busy. They're always on the go. Usually, I feel like you'd meet an Aries person at the gym, because that's where, Aries people tend to hang out. They're always working out. They're very physical people. They're a fire sign. They're the first sign of the zodiac. So honestly, you're just going to find them doing things that are active. So if you're interested in that type of person, if you have those type of interests as well, then they could be a really good match. And the reason that I say that is because for Aries people, they're very independent. So you don't necessarily have to like the things that they like, but I feel like if you want to ever spend time with them, you're probably going to have to at least have some of the same hobbies, because they are so on the go all the time. So Aries is the most independent sign. So when you date an Aries, or, you have a crush on an Aries, they are going to operate in a way that's a little bit different from probably anybody else you've ever dated. So they tend to, if you like an Aries, they're not going to be hard to figure out. Whereas a Cancer might be a little more, covert about it. You're not going to know if they really like you for a little bit. Same thing with a Pisces. But with an Aries, you're going to know right away. So as far as their flirting style goes, they're very upfront. They're very in your face. You're not going to be confused if they have a crush on you. And if you're into an Aries and you're getting mixed signals, or they're not really acting like they like you, they're kind of friend zoning you, I would pay attention to that, because they're really not one of those signs that has a lot hidden. Like a Scorpio is another example of someone that you might not know right away, but with them you will know. So let them come to you. I mean, that's kind of my advice on all the zodiac signs. But pay attention to what they say. They're going to tell you exactly how they feel, exactly what they want, and what they think of you. And then I think the best match for them would be someone who's active and has their own life. Because if you're wanting to do things with them all the time, you're probably going to get kind of lonely in the relationship, just because they're always busy and they are the most independent zodiac sign. And it's not personal. You just have to kind of prepare yourself mentally for that, if you want to go on that journey. Okay, Taurus. So if you are interested in dating with a Taurus, being with a Taurus, marrying a Taurus, what I'm going to tell you is going to change your life. Taurus people are very into their home life. They move kind of slowly. So caveat here. Whereas the Aries, caveat would be that they might just be so independent that it's hard to pin them down and hang out with them. With a Taurus, it's the opposite. Taurus people tend to be very, very, they're just creatures of habit, and they're homebodies. So once you start dating them, or you get into a serious relationship with them, they're going to be with you for life. And it's awesome. You don't have to worry about it. You know where to find them. They're probably at home watching Netflix and eating pizza. But until that point, it might be hard to get to know them, because they tend to go really, really slowly. Taurus is an earth sign, which means they really do need to feel grounded, and they need to kind of figure you out in a way before they commit. Taurus people are just known for moving really slowly throughout that process, because they're very thorough. When a Taurus commits, they commit for life. But until they commit, I wouldn't make any sudden movements. With a Taurus person, never give them an ultimatum. That's another thing. If you ever give a Taurus an ultimatum, that is the biggest way to just end it right there, because they do move the most slowly out of all the zodiac signs. And you'll know that a Taurus likes you because they'll be asking you out on dates, but it may not, and it'll be consistent. So if they're not consistent, red flag, okay? Because a Taurus is nothing if not consistent. But if they are going super, super slow, I would give it a few months, just because that's just their way. And be sure that you're okay with that, because they're going to be going slow throughout the whole relationship. They're going to be slow to, want to get off the couch and do things. They're going to be slow to, to ask you to marry them. They just move more slowly. And if you're into that, it's going to be great. If you're an Aries and you're not into that, it might be the death of you. So I would just make sure that you know your values. I should have said this at the very beginning, but before you start dating the zodiac signs and figuring out who you like and using these lethal tactics on them, I think the most important thing is to know what you want in a partner. Now, that is something that it took me a long time personally to figure out. And I think it takes everybody like a while to really realize like what it is that they want, what they like, what they don't like. And that's why we date, right? But one of the things that I wish I would have known sooner is that it's totally okay to have my boundaries and my preferences without feeling like I need to bend. You know what I mean? So just because I'm telling you that a Taurus moves slowly and don't give them an ultimatum, if you are a Scorpio and you're like, listen, are you in or are you out? Say it. My advice is say it, because you don't ever want to hold yourself back for somebody else, because there could be someone else out there who would just love that vibe. Like that's how my husband and I were. Like we were very compatible, and I was totally myself. He was totally himself, and it worked out. And if I would have settled for somebody else before then, I wouldn't have even gone to the point where I would have been dating him. So be true to yourself, number one, and then use these tactics on the person that you like. Okay. So moving on from, poor Taurus. I didn't even say any good things about them. I was like warning you. So Taurus people have amazing qualities. And one of the things that they are really, really great about is just building like a stable base. So once they commit, once they decide, they're extremely trustworthy, they're sweet, they're cuddly, they're really nice, and they're amazing dressers. Check out my Rising Sign Style video if you haven't watched that yet, because they love luxury. They love a good home cooked meal. They love to host people at their house. They're very warm, and they're definitely someone that you can count on. So they're worth the wait if you're in that place. They do end up being amazing partners. They make they just make great partners, and they're very stable, and they're a lot of fun. And same thing with Aries. I feel like I didn't talk them up. Okay, hold on, back up. So with Aries people, same thing. They are really great partners. Every sign is a great partner. It just depends on what works for you. But Aries people tend to be a lot of fun because they're always doing something new. So if you are a Sagittarius, you might love being with an Aries person because you're never going to get bored. If you're a Gemini, same thing. You're never going to get bored. I feel like fire and air signs go really, really well together. And earth and water go really well together just because it's such a natural flow, and one has what the other needs. Like if you don't water the grass, it's just going to be brittle and dry up, right? And if you don't fan the flame, it's just going to go out. So if you think about the elements and how they go together, it really is pretty intuitive. Okay, so Aries people, they definitely, are a lot of fun. They're exciting. They always have new ideas, fresh things. They will get you fired up and motivated. If you are not motivated, you cannot hang out with an Aries very long without becoming motivated. So, whether it's a friend or a significant other, they're just a really, really great source of inspiration and life. And if you can keep up and it's what you're into, then you're going to have a blast. Okay, Gemini. So Gemini is an air sign. And my biggest advice for seducing a Gemini would be to be well educated, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the sign, and so is Virgo, by the way. Mercury is the planet that is associated with thinking, quick movement, and it's like the messenger planet. So it's like the symbol is the messenger. So communication, being busy, also the twins are associated with Gemini. So they have multiple sides. If you are not up for, learning a bunch of different things, going to a bunch of different parties, always being on the go, Gemini might not be for you. Now, if you love in-depth, discussions. If you love to talk about like celebrity gossip, a lot of Geminis love to be like up on the gossip. They're very social. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then you have met an amazing partner that you're going to have a lot of fun with. You're going to be able to go to a lot of parties together. You're going to laugh a lot. But for them, it's all about variety. So keeping things interesting. If you went on a date with a Gemini, I would say, make sure that you have been catching up on the world news. Be sure that you've read an interesting book lately, because bringing up those types of intellectual topics is really going to stimulate an amazing conversation with them. And that is what they love. Gemini people tend to fall in love with their mind first and their heart and all the rest second and third. So being like having interesting topics, having things that you're passionate about, that is going to really pull a Gemini in, and then you're going to be able to do what you will. Okay, Cancer. So if you have your eye on a Cancer, I got to tell you, I feel like Cancer is the easiest zodiac sign to seduce because they are so sweet and cuddly. They really want to be loved. Cancer is the sign associated with like the feminine energy. So even if they're a man, they're still very nurturing and warm, and they definitely are at home and comfortable in the world of relationships and feelings and emotions. So if you end up connecting with a Cancer, chances are they really feel it in their heart. And so it's going to be, if you also like them, it's going to be pretty easy to turn that into a relationship if that's what you're looking for. Cancers also love food and cooking, and they love when you cook for them. So if you are interested in becoming like, a culinary prodigy, or if you're already a chef and you like to cook, or if you use HelloFresh, shameless plug there, like Michael and I use, they're going to love it. That's like an ideal date. Doing things together that have to do with Cancerian themes like nurturing, doing things at home, feeling like you're connecting emotionally, all of that stuff is going to connect you guys in a way that's going to move the relationship or the dating adventure forward. So I really do think that it's pretty easy. It just depends on like if that's what you're really into. Like if you're wanting a fling, or you're not really sure yet how you feel, typically Cancerians, because they're a water sign, they do look for people that are emotionally sure of how they feel about them. So it just wouldn't really work out. I would say if you're more in the light and breezy mood, I'd look for a Gemini, I'd look for an Aries, a Sagittarius would be great, an Aquarius would be great. But if you are wanting depth of emotion, Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer would be a really good match. So just keep that in mind as you get to know the Cancerian object of your affection. Okay, Leo. So if you're interested in a Leo, prepare to be in the spotlight alongside them, or let them have the spotlight. And that's a tough one. I think that very few people really have that in them to completely let someone else have the spotlight. I would say someone with Virgo placements, because Virgos really do love to be behind the scenes, and they're like, they're very nurturing and giving. I would say Virgos, Libras have a lot of those same tendencies. Libras are the partnership sign, so it's going to be easy for them to support somebody else instead of pursuing their own need for the spotlight or need for attention. And it sounds funny, but like Leo people really are, they're great. They're so much fun. A really evolved Leo, especially like because they're represented by the sun, when they are like in their element and they're shining, and again, they're evolved, their ego's not running the show. It's like they're spiritually present. They are amazing. They make everybody feel good. They light up the room. They bring out the light in you. They bring out the light in themselves. Like it's all good. When a Leo is not fully evolved and still learning some lessons around partnership, they can suck the life out of the room, and you end up, just kind of fading into the background, and it's not a lot of fun. Also, there can be some like egotistical vibes, some narcissism. So you got to just kind of like watch out for that. It's a very small group of Leos that are like that, but just keep an eye out, because that would be a cosmic red flag that you would definitely want to note with a Leo. And on that note, other dating advice, when people show you who they are, believe them. I'm pretty sure Oprah said that. Yes, Oprah said that. Aquarius, by the way, she's an Aquarius. In the dating world and in the relationship world and in the friendship, heck, just in the world, when people show you who they are, believe them is the best thing that I ever had to learn the hard way. Because when you are out there dating or out there like making new friends or whatever you're doing in life, we tend to want to see the good, especially if we're in the place where we're wanting to connect with people. You know, we want to see the good sometimes. And so I would say make sure that you are taking note of all the good, all the bad. Listening, being a great listener is so important, not only for like, you know, sussing out who's going to be a match for you or who isn't, but also just for like nurturing a relationship. Think about how good it feels when you're listened to. So slowing down and like listening to what people are really saying, that's really positive when you're out there dating or building a relationship. And then also listening to the truth of who people are and not trying to change them or make it something that it's not. I feel like that's like just really healthy for any situation, because you can have fun dating someone, but they might not be the right person. But if you're not listening and you're trying to like turn it into something else and you're acting on these assumptions, it can create a lot of heartbreak and stress for no reason. Because I really don't think that most people are trying to hurt each other. I just think we have to be more honest and upfront and better communicators. So, all right, there's that. But what was I saying? To attract a Leo, wear their favorite colors. So Leos are attracted to gold, orange, and yeah, just gold and orange actually. So wear gold or wear orange, because I know it sounds funny, but if you wear the color that the zodiac sign that you're interested in is known for, it's like their power color, it's going to naturally attract them to you. Now, whether that attraction goes beyond that, like it might just lead to one really good conversation. But if you're going on a date with someone, wearing their color is going to just give you a couple of extra cosmic points. So for Aries, that's red. For Taurus, that's green. For Gemini, that's yellow. And for Cancer, that is silver or white. For Leo, orange or gold. Okay, so Virgo. If you are interested in a Virgo, Virgos are a little bit complex. And I say this with all honesty because I too am a Virgo. Virgo men, in my opinion, are very different from Virgo women though. Virgo women tend to be like the person that until they become more conscious of it, like they can get their heart broken easily because they really care, or they can be kind of standoffish. Like they're just very complex. Virgo men, on the other hand, are not very complex. They tend to be hard to get to commit though. I find that a lot of Virgo men are very like in their own world in a way. They're ruled by Mercury, just like Geminis. So they're thinkers. They live in their head a lot. So to get them to come down into their heart, connect, and commit, it's just a little bit more difficult. It takes a little more time and a little bit more compatibility. Like they really need to feel intellectually connected to you, just like Geminis. They need to feel like there is a synergy. You're going the same place. Virgo men tend to plan everything out. So like you have to fit into the life plan, But if you meet a Virgo, like at work, for example, that is probably going to be the best place to meet them, because Virgos rule the 6th house of work. So if you end up meeting them at work, not only is I think it's a good omen that like it was meant to be, but also you're just going to have more in common on a day-to-day, which is what Virgos tend to live in. Virgos tend to get really caught up in the details of the day-to-day. I do it too. And so if you are a part of their day-to-day routine, it's going to make it easier and it's going to create a better environment for you guys to connect. I know it sounds funny, but just think about it. Everybody is so different and we all just connect differently. So that is Virgos. But Virgo women, on the other hand, they tend to be very giving and very kind and more sensitive than their male counterparts. So Virgo women, like if you're interested in a Virgo woman, I would say be extremely sweet to her, but actually make sure that you're sweet, because if it wears off, she's just going to get pissed off at you. But the sweeter you are to a Virgo woman, the sweeter, kinder, more loving energy you'll end up getting back. And a lot of really beautiful relationships can be built on that, because I feel like, and I may be biased, but I feel like Virgos have a lot of sweetness in them. So if you're into that, you can have a really sweet, romantic, kind of fairy tale vibe relationship. Which brings me to Libra, because Libra has that in common. I married a Libra. We have a Virgo-Libra relationship, so I think I know it pretty well. But Libras are they're really sweet also. Libras are relationship-oriented. They are the opposite sign from Aries. So whereas Aries is like independent, like I said earlier, Libra is the dynamic duo sign. Like Libras want to be with their partner all the time. They tend to be really giving. It's easy for them to put their partner first. They actually prefer it. They're happiest when they're in a relationship. So if you're interested in a Libra, I would say, like, if you're commitment oriented, that's a great sign for you, because they are very commitment oriented. Also, if they are interested in you in a real way, chances are they're going to want to be in a relationship with you, and it's not going to take a long time for you to figure that out. Like, you're not going to be guessing or wondering. Libras power colors are pink and blue. So if you have like a pink outfit or a little blue dress, sport that on your date, because that will, pump up the Libra energy that you're carrying in your aura as well. And I think that, like, with Libras, complimenting and flirting is a really big deal, because they are ruled by Venus. And so they really need to feel like, again, like that fairy tale energy. So if you can bring that, if you can bring like the fairy tale vibes, if you're really like loving and sweet, you can definitely gush a little bit more with them, because they are going to want that and need that to be attracted to you. Whereas other signs might be a little more overwhelmed if you lead with that. Libras, if they're into you, they're going to really love that, and you'll know right away. So you can just kind of see what their body language is, see how they react, and you'll know what's up with them. Okay. Next, we have Scorpios. Okay, so Scorpios are, I would say, a little bit more complex than the other signs when it comes to dating, because Scorpios are very all or nothing. They tend to be really like interested in people, but they have a lot of like, I don't know, internal things going on. And so, and that sounds bad. It's not bad. Scorpio people are really loyal, committed, and interesting. And like, once they're in for life. That's my moon sign. Like, I totally feel that vibe. I agree with all the things I read about Scorpios. But on the other end, you might not know that Scorpio is interested in you for a really long time, if ever. So you may be the one that has to kind of go out on a limb, ask them some questions, because they tend to be a little more introverted. Even if they like, well, especially if they like you, actually, because Scorpios can be very brooding in a way. So they think a lot. They really feel things deeply. They're a water sign. So if you are a water sign or an earth sign, I really think earth signs go best with Scorpio, because of how like deep and kind of moody they can be as they, sort through their feels. And it can just be a whole journey. And if you're also a water sign, it can just drag everybody down and be kind of intense. So be aware of that. If you're a water sign and you're dating a Scorpio, or you want to date a Scorpio, just know somebody's got to put on the emotional brakes. So it might have to be you. With them, I would say wear their power colors for sure. Burgundy and black, very sexy, a little mysterious. The more mysterious you can be, the more intrigued with all of the signs. When you're wanting to, seduce them, do what you do. I think that a little bit of mystery in the beginning is always really good, because you want people to like wonder about you and be curious about you. If you like put it all out there all the time, I just don't think that it's going to really it just doesn't have the same pull. Think about it. We all want what we can't have. Whether we like it or not, it's our egos. It's how we are. Most people love a good mystery. Most people love a good chase. Most people love a good thriller. So you want to get people curious about you. So even if you have especially if you have a crush on somebody, I would say flirt a little bit, but like walk away. Like, let them come to you, because it's going to not only get them more interested in you and require a little bit of more effort. So they're going to become a little bit more invested in the outcome. But you're also going to feel a boost of confidence knowing that they're coming after you. Think about, like, especially as a woman, like, think about if you've ever, like, not let someone come to you. I know, like, when I was younger, I did some of that kind of stuff. And, like, it just never felt great because you're like, wait, what? I don't even know. Like, with my husband, for example, like, I mean, he came running. He was chasing. And that was exactly what I wanted. It made me feel totally confident, totally loved and cared about. It brought out my best self. And I feel like as women, it brings out your best side and, like, your truest self when you feel pursued and, like, cherished and loved. And when you don't, that's when I think a lot of people get into those, like, toxic relationship dynamics. Been there too. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's when that kind of happens, because when you're, self-doubt or not feeling good enough, when any of those vibes are kind of felt in a relationship, it's a disaster. It's a total disaster. So I would say let them come to you. With a Scorpio, be mysterious. But also know that similar to a Taurus, they're going to take a little bit longer to really, like, open up to you and commit and for you to really know where things are with them. So when you're dating, I always say, like, act like you're, like, just think of someone as a friend until they're not, because I think that's just the best way to stay balanced emotionally and mentally when you're in the dating pool and you're, like, meeting different people and, like, maybe forming crushes on people or going out, to dinner. You don't want to get into the place where you, like, are really, really into somebody and, like, sitting by the phone wondering, which, I mean, sometimes we can't avoid that. But for the most part, that's just going to feel really yucky and disempowered, and we all know. So with a Scorpio in particular, holding yourself back a little bit, not being discouraged if they don't show a ton of interest right away because they're just kind of broody and, like, they're just more to themselves. And you being mysterious is going to draw them in. So that's with the Scorpio. Bring out your sultry side, and you're going to have it made with that one. Where's my notes? Shit. Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarius, similar to what I said about Gemini, Sagittarius people need a lot of stimulation. They are not ever going to be satisfied with just, like, the same thing every day. A bored Sagittarius is a nightmare, okay? And I can say that lovingly because my rising sign is Sagittarius, and I am a nightmare when I'm bored. And, like, they always need to be, like, on the go, doing things. Sagittarians love to travel. They love foreign cuisine. They love to have a great time. They're ruled by Jupiter, which is all about, like, expansion. They need new ideas. They need to feel optimistic. So especially if you really like or into a Sagittarius, I would say read a lot of, like, I don't know, like, self-help books and, like, interesting things. Like, Oprah's a Sagittarius rising. Like, just get into the mindset of, like, optimism and success, because Sagittarians are just drawn to that. They cannot help it. When someone around them is, like, just focused on, like, the bright side, is someone who's, like, always down to have a good time, like, they are naturally going to be attracted to that. And that's how you get and keep a Sagittarius. Once you get them, also, another thing to note, don't ever take them for granted, because, again, they are the adventurer. They need stimulation. They need to be excited. So, like, I'm not saying that they're going to do anything, whatever, but I'm just saying, like, when they get bored and unhappy, that's when, like, bickering and different things can start. And, like, trust me, you don't want to deal with that from a Sagittarius. They can be biting and, like, the whole thing. On the bright side, they're just so much fun. So if you want to have a good time, if you want to travel, if you want someone who is going to be a dreamer, like, that is going to be the person for you. For them, their power color is purple. And right now, there are a lot of beautiful, like, purple outfits and summer dresses out there. Again, shameless plug, go watch the video on your rising sign to get inspired for your fashion, for your looks. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. So just be sure that you're in the right mindset. You don't want to be broody and weird. Also, another thing, don't clam up around a Sagittarius, because they're very talkative and they're going to want to talk to you and they're going to want to know you and they're probably going to ask you a million questions and you're going to have a great time with them. So just bring your positive attitude with them. Okay. Capricorns are the boss of the zodiac. So they love to make money. They're very driven and motivated. So if you are somebody similar to an Aries, if you're interested in a Capricorn, just be prepared to like do more things on your own because they are typically really busy and absorbed in what they're doing. Now, Capricorns, what's interesting about them is they tend to get more childlike and more fun as they get older. It's said that Capricorn people age in reverse because typically Capricorns are so driven for a reason. They're driven to be the boss or to make all the money in their life for a reason. If you talk to a Capricorn, 9 times out of 10, as a child, they had a lot of hardship and they had to become this person that they are today, which I think is super inspiring and awesome. But you're also going to have a more serious sign on your hands when you're dealing with a Capricorn. So they take things really seriously. Like I said, as they get older, I'm talking like into their 40s, 50s and beyond, like that's when they start to relax a little bit, especially if they've already like made their money and they feel secure in their life. But until then, like this is the person who's going to be burning the midnight oil. They even take the cake over Virgos. Virgos are known for being workaholics, but I have to say, Capricorn, like, will win that race every day. Like, they are the people who will be working all weekend long. Like, you might not get a text back because they're busy. And so if a Capricorn tells you that, like, sorry, I didn't text you back because I was working, believe them. Because that's not the brush off. Like, if it's from a Capricorn specifically. Now, if it's from a Sagittarius, sorry. Like, it's, yeah, don't buy that one. But if they tell you that, like, you know not to take it personally, that's just kind of the package that they come in. So you have to be okay with that if you want to be with them, if that is like a good fit for you. They're an earth sign. So, you know, again, they bring a lot of stability. They typically are more like, I don't know, just more grounded. They might not be the ones that are going to want to like, you know, have all these spontaneous plans, typically because they just can't fit them in their schedule. But if you are somebody who really loves stability and loves the type of person that, you know, is always going to be there for you, even if they're not like there for you, like on a daily basis because they're probably at work busy. If that's what you like, then that is going to be a really great fit for you. And again, they're someone that you really can count on, and they have a lot of depth because typically they've been through a lot of different situations. So if you can get a Capricorn to sit down with you and have a great talk, you're going to end up seeing that they're a person that has a lot of depth. So that's another one that you're going to really want to spend more time getting to know. As a general rule, earth signs take the longest to get to know and to like get them to settle down and commit, just because by nature, the element of earth is solid, stable, and it just takes the longest to like move and shift. Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo, the fire signs, they are going to be the second longest commitment as far as like the time and effort it's going to take to get them to settle down as a rule, because of the opposite reason. Fire signs are so busy and on the go. It's like the wildfire starts burning and like before you know it, they're in your life and they're out of your life. And then like, who knows when they're coming back. So with that, it's a totally different reason, but there's a lot of excitement and fun there. Now, an air sign, I would say, is the third most challenging if you're looking for a commitment, because air signs tend to live in their head a lot, right? So like I said, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, they live in their mind a lot. So it just takes them longer to drop down into their heart and to realize how they feel about you and how strongly they feel. And then a water sign, Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces, they're going to be the quickest to commit because they operate from their feels. They're always in their feels. So if they're talking to you, if they're dating you, they have the feels for you. So, all right, take that as you will. Aquarius. So if you're interested in an Aquarius, just know that this person is going to be a little bit offbeat. Like they're just going to be a little bit different. As you get to know them more, you're going to see that they have a lot of unique traits and tendencies. Aquarians are actually associated with the aliens. So like they are the most otherworldly sign, and they tend to be really smart. Typically, an Aquarius will have their own form of genius. So it might not be like your book smarts, or it could be, but an Aquarian will usually be really, really good at something. So getting to know them and finding out like what they're really, really good at, like what their area of genius is, can be really interesting, especially like as you date them and you kind of figure them out. You're always going to be surprised by an Aquarius. They're a wild card. I mean, so it's hard to say with an Aquarius what you're going to get because they are such a mixed bag. So I would say if you're seducing an Aquarius, you need to know that, and like right up front, that it could just go either way. And so you're going to really need to listen a lot more to them to understand like what it is that they're like, who they even are. Do you know what I mean? Because there's just so much going on in there, but they're such a fascinating sign. They're always one for like great conversations. So if you want to be around somebody that you can talk to about everything from like politics to astronomy to, the latest celebrity news, like an Aquarius is typically going to be the one to want to think everything through with you. And you're probably going to come up with some crazy theories together. So if you like an Aquarius, I would say, their power color is blue. So, something blue, they're the water bearer. So even though they are an air sign, not a water sign, they still are associated with water in the sense that they can be a container. So of all the air signs, I would say Aquarius is the most compatible with water signs. So just make a little note of that. If you're a water sign, there could be something really interesting there if you give it a chance and let it develop, especially if you have air in your chart in other places. Okay, and last but not least, Pisces. If you have a crush on a Pisces, if you like that vibe, just know that there's going to be a lot of emotions going on with a Pisces. I would say, on the positive side, you can really have a lot of depth with a Pisces person. They typically are really, they're one for self-disclosure. So they're going to tell you how they feel. They're going to be really transparent about their feelings, even if their feelings are super, super deep. So like, you're really going to know if they're interested in you, like you're going to know right away, and you're going to know how they feel. And like, they're just the most upfront of all the water signs. On the other side, you don't really know if they're telling that to you and everybody else, because it's really just how they are. So one thing to be careful about if you are interested in a Pisces is just let it play out, because what can happen is people can get caught up in the energy. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, which is a very it's a planet that's associated with illusion. So in a good way, you can end up having like amazing dates and like a lot of romance. And on the negative side, if it's not somebody that is really going to be a long-term partner for you, depending on like where they're at in their life, where you're at in your life, all that stuff, the illusion can end up causing a lot of damage, because you could be thinking one thing about the relationship and they could be thinking a totally different thing. They are... The symbol of Pisces is the fish with two heads going in opposite directions. So similar to Gemini, Geminis have multiple sides because they're ruled by the twins. Same thing with Pisces, although it's just a little bit harder to figure out what those two sides are. So with a Pisces, I would say, really make sure that you're getting to know them, and for yourself, having more boundaries. And when I say boundaries, I don't mean like in a negative way, like, you have to really like watch out and like from a place of fear, because dating is supposed to be fun. There shouldn't be anything fearful about it, especially if you do like have good boundaries. Like nobody can hurt you without your consent, essentially. But like having really good boundaries with a Pisces is super important in the beginning stages of the dating game or in the art of seduction, because Pisces have no boundaries at all. So if you don't watch it, you could end up just like in a Neptunian haze, and you're going to like wake up in a few months and be like, what the hell was that? So you just want to have your wits about you, and wearing the color seafoam green attracts the eye of a Pisces, because that is their color. And on the bright side, you can have, like I said, really romantic, amazing times with a Pisces person. To seduce them, I would say speak the language of romance with them. If you have a silver tongue, the ability to, I'm talking like poetry, just do it. Just tell them, say it. You can be as romantic as you want, because that is exactly what a Pisces person is going to respond to, because typically Pisces people find it kind of difficult to meet a partner and find somebody that really appeals to their depth. And a Pisces and a Pisces together tends to not work either, just because it's like, again, too much of one element is just overwhelming. So Pisces probably have one of the hardest times finding the right person because they are so dreamy. They really do like to live in that dream world. They're ruled by Jupiter, just like Sagittarius. So, anybody who has a lot of Sagittarius placements in their chart needs an escape in a way. There's this escapist element. So if you can also philosophize with a Pisces, if you can talk about higher ideals, if you're a dreamer, that is typically going to be the best fit. So if you have that awareness going into it and that's something that you like, that could be a really fulfilling, amazing relationship. Okay, you guys, well, that is what I have for you this week. I hope that you use these seduction tactics and this advice for good and not for evil. But I had a lot of fun talking about this with you guys. If you are watching this on YouTube, drop a comment below. Let me know who you have a crush on, if it was accurate, how it worked. Tell me what your sign is. I want to know. I love talking about compatibility in relationships. I just think it's so much fun. And I know I was supposed to do the astrocartography episode this week, but I am pushing it because, like I said, you guys, I'm going on my honeymoon. And I realized while I was researching that my moon line in astrocartography, which we're going to talk about next week, goes directly through where Michael and I are going on our honeymoon. Okay? And that has all sorts of meanings. So I wanted to wait and do the episode from that location so that I could be in the energy and then report back and tell you guys like what it's really like and what's going on. Okay, you guys, have an amazing week and I will see you next time.